everyone, in this video we are going to learn about some of the adaptations which flowers possess in order to promote self-pollination. Okay, so first adaptation is known as homogamy. Okay, homogamy is actually the condition in bisexual flowers. Okay, so this is a condition in bisexual flowers. That means flowers in which both stamen and pistil are present. Okay, so in homogamy, actually both anther and stigma, they matures at the same time. Okay, so in homogamy what happens is anther and stigma of the flower, okay, they both matures at the same time, and hence as they both mature at the same time, hence they both are ready for the process of pollination. Okay, and this ensures self-pollination in them. The example is wheat, rice, 4 o'clock plant, potato, etc. 4 o'clock plant is actually the botanical name is Mirabilis jalpa. Okay, Mirabilis jalpa. Okay, and in this picture you can see the reproductive organs of rice plant. This one is actually the stamen. This is anther and filament. Okay, anther and filament. Okay, here you can see anther and filament. Okay, and this one is pistil. So this is stigma. So there is stigma, style, okay, style, ovary, and stigma. Okay, the second adaptation for self-pollination is Klystrogaming. So Klystrogaming are actually Clystogamous flowers are actually the small inconspicuous flower. They're not easily noticeable, and in them the petals are completely closed. Okay, so as the petals of the flower are completely closed, inside them the stamen and the pistil present are also enclosed completely inside the flower. Okay, and the example is Oxalis, Viola, Commelina. So in Clystogamy what happens is the stamen and the pistil, that means the male reproductive and female reproductive organ, they are completely enclosed inside the flower. Okay, the third next adaptation for self-pollination is geocarpy. Okay, now what happens in geocarpy is after the process of pollination, this development of the fruit occurs inside the soil, okay, or below the ground. And the best example for this is Arachis hypogaea. Commonly it is known as groundnuts or peanuts. Okay, Arachis hypogaea. So what happens in them is, for example, this is a thalamus. You have this ovary, stigma, and then style. Okay, so stigma, style, and ovary. Inside ovary, ovules are present. Once this ovule gets fertilized by the male gamete of pollen grain, okay, so what will happen? The stigma and style will wither off. Okay, so this is thalamus again. Stigma and the style will wither off, and a tube will grow from this thalamus. Okay, and this tube, the tip of the tube is actually carrying the fertilized ovum, and this tube will now go and touch the soil. Okay, and it will carry this fertilized ovum inside the soil, and now here inside the soil this fertilized ovum will change into fruits. Okay, so that's the reason that these groundnuts are obtained from under the soil. The fourth adaptation is of Mirabilis jalpa. In Mirabilis jalpa, anther of this plant, they actually bends on stigma and drops the pollen grain. Okay, so for example, this is the thalamus. On the top of thalamus you have this ovary, style, and stigma. Okay, and this is actually the anther. Okay, so what happens is this anther actually bends on the stigma. It will bend on automatically on the stigma, and it will drop pollen grains on the top of stigma. This next example is of Solanum tuberosum. Solanum tuberosum is a common potato plant. Okay, common potato plant. Okay, so here in Solanum tuberosum, the stigma coils around the anther and receives pollen grains on maturation of anther. Okay. So you can see here this picture below actually shows the flowers of the potato. This one is actually corolla. Corolla means petals. Okay. And then we have stigma, style and ovary. This is ovary. Okay. And there are actually 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. There are actually 5 stamens. Okay. So stigma, style and ovary plus there are 5 stamens. Okay. The last unique adaptation for self-pollination can be observed in Vinca Rosia plant. Okay. Vinca Rosia. Okay. And the botanical name is Catharanthus roseus. Okay. Now what happens in this plant is anthers are always present on the top. Okay. Top of the flower. But these pistils are present at the bottom of the flower and the style is very short. Okay. So for example, this is thalamus. Okay. Now, pistil is present at the bottom, stigma, style and ovary, and anthers, this is the flower for example, and these anthers are actually present on the top, okay, here. These are the anthers present on the top, okay. Now what happens is, on maturation or maybe later on when the stigma matures and the anther matures, when the flower is actually ready for the self-pollination, so at that time the length of this style, it will actually elongate. Okay, the length of the style increases and the style elongates and it reaches near the anther. Okay, it reaches near the anther. Okay, and hence from anther it receives pollen grain for the process of fertilization. So these were some of the adaptations shown by the plants for promoting self-pollination. In next video, we will learn about the adaptations posed by different plants in order to promote cross-pollination. Okay. If you have doubt in any of the portion of this video, kindly mention them in the comment section below and I will definitely revert with the correct answer. Take care. Bye-bye.